Hello everyone and welcome to another video here in the channel. My name is Leal and today we're going to be going over a very interesting topic, which is nanite texturing. So this is the little character that I've been working for our Sculptober event, which by the way you can join right now in our Discord. This is day number 2 and the prompt was werewolf. So I'm doing this a very cool sort of like werewolf, like a knock handler. I'm not even sure what the name is in English, but it's these things that you find in like antique doors, and I want to texture it. I want to be able to add like a copper or gold, the rust, just make it look very, very nice. But the big question is, how are we going to be doing that if we have a super dense like element right here? This effect or this like mesh, as you see right here, is 1.75 million points, which is about 3 million polygons, 2.5 million polygons. Can we use this with nanite? And the answer is yes, but we do need to follow a slight process that I'm about to show you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go here and we're going to merge visible. We're going to combine everything into a single mesh. And one of the things that I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to turn on Dynamesh with a really high resolution right here. So in this case, 1200 resolution. And this should give us pretty much all of the things combined. So as you can see now, the teeth, the ring, and the eyes of the wolf are going to be combined. This is not something that we're going to be able to animate, unfortunately. We could do just the head of the wolf without the ring so that we can do the ring as a separate piece and then animate the ring when we want to knock. However, that's one of the issues about like nanite. Nanite does not allow any sort of like skin deformation. You can do a lot of things, and I'm going to be showing very soon with the chess tutorial that we've been doing how we can like pretty much cheat our way through nanite and use it and rig it. However, it won't allow you to deform or attach any sort of like skin cluster to your element. So this is it. This is the element. There are three ways in which we can texturize or give textures to this guy. The first one is polypaint. Polypaint is an excellent way right here. We can literally just drop a material into this object, get the material that we want, add some like polypaint. However, the problem is when we do polypaint, the only map that we're actually painting is the color map. So you're going to have to bring that into other softwares and convert and do just some other like silly things that are not really as useful when trying to work with a pipeline. So ideally, we want UVs. Technically, we could get some like super random UVs with this thing right here. However, it's not ideal. It's a lot easier if we work with a low poly mesh. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to duplicate this object. We're going to go to geometry and series mesh, and we're going to series mesh this thing. I'm going to keep this series mesh relatively high, 5%, because we're not even going to use the low poly. We just want to use the low poly to get our effect. Now it says that we have an error. That's interesting. So let's go to modify topology first, mesh integrity, and just fix mesh to make sure that we don't have any issues. There we go. And now if we series mesh, we should be able to series mesh properly. This new version of ZBrush, or the version that I'm currently using, actually has a series mesh feature that allows you to do multiple retries. You can see it right here. So if the first series mesh that we're about to do here does not work, we're just going to do it again. And there we go. We got a nice remesh, as you can see right here. This is looking quite nice. We've managed to capture most of the details and we don't seem to have any sort of issue. So on this series mesh, before we do anything else, we're going to get its UVs. And again, there's multiple ways to get UVs. In this case, I kind of want to use UV Master, which is a very nice plugin here instead of ZBrush. But first of all, before doing that, it might be a good idea to try to organize the polygroups of this thing a little bit better. So one thing we can do here, it doesn't have to be exact, like this technique that I'm showing you, this nanite technique, it's not meant to be like super precise. We're going to be kind of like cheating our way through a lot of different things. So I know if you guys are familiar with like traditional 3D techniques, or the ones that I normally teach, this is not something that you're going to be using a lot in production, but it's a handy tool to have every now and then. If you're in a time crunch or something, you might want to be able to just utilize this method. So by doing this, I'm separating the character into two like elements, and then I'm going to do another one back here. So let me change to select rect, and we're going to just select the back part of the character and then Control W this one. There we go. So as you can see, we have three polygroups: the back part, the front like face of the wolf, and the ring. That way, when we unfold, which is what we're about to do, it should give us a cleaner result. We're going to go to C plugin. We're going to go to UV Master, and we don't need symmetry really. The character is symmetrical, but we don't really need symmetry, so it's fine. And we're going to do C plugin. We do want to keep polygroups, and we're going to unwrap. So what this will do is it will try to find like the best islands for this particular element, and it's going to give us a nice UV. How can we check this? If we go to UV map and we morph UV, you're going to be able to see this thing right here. Is this the most perfect UV that you've ever seen? No, this is actually not that bad, but it's not like super perfect. So if we wanted like super efficiency, this is not the method that you're going to be using. But now we have a good like form for this thing, and the only thing we need to do is we need to do Control D a couple of times. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and by turning both of the heads on, we're going to go over here and do a project and project all. This will, as the name implies, project all of the details from the other subtool, which was like the dirty subtool, into this clean subtool that has proper UVs. Now, the cool thing about this like tool that I'm sharing right now is that we are going to be having UVs on the highest of division level, which is exactly what we want, because eventually we're going to be exporting that highest of division level with UVs as a Nanite mesh into Unreal. And we're going to see this at the end of this video. So make sure to hit subscribe and like and everything while we're waiting for this, and just don't turn away. We're about to get to the fun stuff. So there we go. We got the projection done. As you can see, that's a very nice detail. If you wanted to, this is a quick sketch, by the way. It took me like 20 minutes or something to do it. So imagine how much nicer this could look if I spent like hours, which is normally what you would spend on a what's the word? On a traditional pipeline. So we have this one, and as you can see, we have like UV meshes. So what I'm going to do here is I want to texture this with as many points as possible inside the substance, but I don't want to crash the software. So I'm going to go to this level right here. So I'm going to go geometry and delete lower. As you can see, we have level 1, 2, and 3, which was originally 3, 4, and 5. So level 1 is at 200,000 points, which is about 400,000 polygons. And this is what we want. So I'm going to go C plugin. I like using FBX export. We're going to export the visible right now, the only one. ASCII is fine, and we're just going to export. And here in the desktop, we're going to call this werewolf. There we go. Now, we are going to be doing a bake, and you might say, like, why do we need a bake if we're going to be using Nanite? We need the bake mainly to get, like, ambient occlusion, curvature, and all that sort of stuff. But eventually, this right here, the 3.2 million polygons, like, tool is what we're going to be using. And I'm not risking it. I know Substance is going to be able to handle it, but exporting a 3.2 million polygons, it's definitely heavy. Okay, so keep in mind, if you're working with this is something that's going to be a little bit heavy. Actually, I'm tempted to go all the way down to 800, so it's like 1.5 millions. But let's try to kill my computer. Why not? So we're just going to export this, and this is going to be werewolf. Let's call this _nanite, because it's going to be our nanite head. So yeah, that's pretty much it here for ZBrush. Now we're going to jump into Substance. This might happen to you while exporting or working inside of ZBrush with a very heavy mesh. Just wait, be patient. It's usually just ZBrush like using all the available memory to get the things out there, and it's not going to crash. So just wait a little bit. So yeah, now let's take a quick look. I've already opened Substance. Let's just take a quick look here in the desktop, and you guys are going to see the difference. The Werewolf Nanite one is weighing almost 720 megabytes, so almost 1 gigabyte of just pure geometry information. This is why you need to be a little bit more efficient with Nanite. Like, this might be a bad use for Nanite, but if you're doing like a huge mountain or something, it's going to be just fine. And this one, the basic Werewolf, as you can see, it's only 42 megabytes of size. So now here inside of Substance, I'm going to load in the, we're going to be doing a 4K map, of course. I'm just going to keep it simple. We're not going to go over texturing today, where I want to go into Unreal. I'm going to keep DirectX because we're going to be using Unreal, of course. And I'm just going to hit OK. So ideally, we should be seeing our little wolf head right here. And if we check the UVs, we should have proper UVs as well. There we go. If we press function F1, you should see this right here. We are getting an error that there's some triangles that are too small to be meshed, whatever. It's not really, like, as long as it loads right here, you're going to be just fine. And again, we have this right here. We do want to make the bake, so we're going to go over here. This is going to be a 4K bake, and we're going to be using the Nanite element as our element, or as our object. As you can see, this is definitely going to be a little bit heavy to load because it needs to load the almost 1 gigabyte size into memory, the 1 gigabyte element, and that's what's going to be, it's going to be bringing that here into our scene. So let's give it a couple of minutes. I'm going to do the bakes, and then I'll show you the textures. As you can see right now, we're doing the bakes. This is the ambient occlusion, which is one of the heavy ones. We're going to do the curvature, which is going to be great for our metals, and the position. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We go back to paint mode, and we have our bakes right here. Again, as I told you, we're not going to go super crazy with this one. I'm just going to grab some basic smart materials here. So for instance, this is the bronze armor, which already gives us an amazing looking thing. Let's grab a bronze, this one, a bronze corroded. We're going to add a black mask. We're going to add a generator. And this is going to be a dirt generator. There we go. That looks really nice. I'm going to change this to like a linear dodge or like an overlay. Overlay looks nice. Probably like lower the intensity a little bit. And then we have this like bronze stain, which looks very interesting. For this one, I'm going to add it on the top. So I'm going to add a black mask. Right click. We're going to add another generator. And in this case, I'm going to use a light generator to point this down right here. Let's increase the intensity. There we go. As you can see, it's kind of like a dirt layer on top of everything. And then what I can do here, this is very interesting. I can add another generator, such as a dirt generator. And we can increase the dirt, increase the contrast. I'm going to press Alt-click to see what the mask is doing on the mask. It's going to give me access to the mask. And I'm going to bring this right about there. And we're going to multiply. So now, actually in this case, I want to invert. There we go. So now as you can see what the dirt is doing, it's masking out the crevices of the element. So we only get this light on the areas where there is no dirt. Very cool way to generate. I know I said I was going to do some masking things, but I might as well. We're already here. This one I'm going to change to linear dodge to kind of like bring out some of the color right there. I feel like that's looking good. Let's bring this down a little bit there. And I kind of want to add some like this dirt layer right there. Let's see what that does. And at this point, as you can see, oh, that one looks nice. I'm gonna have this under the bronze armor, and I'm gonna overlay it so we get some interesting dark spots. And then of course we're gonna like bring the intensity down. So that's gonna, as you can see, break up some of the bronze and give us some like changes. So as you can see, the texturing process is gonna be pretty much the same, but we're using a sort of like a lower version of the element and using the normal map, of course, to get that texture. But here, the most important thing is we're gonna be creating the diffuse, the ambient occlusion, all of these maps. And now we're gonna bring all of these maps out so that we can project them into a nanite mesh inside of Unreal. So I'm gonna go to File, Export Textures. Of course, I'm going to export right now to the desktop to work a little bit faster. PNG is fine. Metallic roughness is fine. Or actually, in this case, I'm going to do like the Unreal Engine 4, which is a little bit more efficient. So Unreal Engine 4 packed. I know we're already in Unreal Engine 5. Hopefully, they update this soon. But right now, it's called Unreal Engine 4. And let's just export this. Cool. So let's, of course, save this file. Always save your stuff. I was actually working on this wolf, and I forgot to save, and ZBrush crashed, and I lost like 20 minutes of progress the first time I was sketching it, but I actually like the second version quite more. So yeah, this is pretty much it. So now we're gonna jump into Unreal. We're going to load, of course, our Imaginarium, which is the little project that we're working with at the chest. If you haven't seen the chest, by the way, it's a full series where I teach you how to model, texture, UV, and create a game-ready chest. Right now, we're in the rigging process. We're going to be jumping into animation very soon, probably this week or next week. And yeah, we're also going to be using a little bit of Nanite there as well. So if you haven't checked that series, make sure to go into our channel. We have a lot of content. And as always, guys, thank you for being here. I know it's not easy to watch a 15-minute video, but this is how you learn. This is how you improve as an artist and you get to the next level. I also want to remind you guys that we're trying to get to our goal, which is 3K subscribers at the time of this recording. Eventually 10K subscribers will be great. But yeah, we're getting there. So, okay, we're here inside of our Imaginarium. I'm actually going to create a new folder called Assets so that we can, like, any asset that we create, have it here. Let's call this Werewolf. And in here, we're going to import, but we're not going to import the one that we use for the bake. We're going to import all of these textures first. That's an easy one. Just import the textures. And then we're going to import this werewolf nanite. Now, when we open this, it's very important that we select the nanite option. Keep in mind that this file is 1 GB big. Like, again, this is not or might not be the most efficient way to do it, but it works. Nanite is going to allow us to have this super heavy mesh inside of our element. When we bring this in, or as soon as I get the pop-up, there's going to be an option to turn on Nanite. Let me wait for this to load, and I'll show you where it is. There we go. So as you can see, we have this option right here, Build Nanite. Super important to keep this on. And when we say import, it's going to take a while. It's not going to be super fast, but once it does the whole processing, this will be a Nanite mesh ready to be entered into our world. So let's wait. Now, before you go into the comments and be like, oh, that's not an efficient way, this is not the way to do it, you could optimize the mesh. I know, I know, guys. I love you guys and I love your support. But sometimes you guys can be very judgmental with the techniques that I'm sharing here. One way in which you can optimize this so that you can save yourselves a little bit of loading times and memory space is by decimating. However, I wanted to show you how a pure non-decimated mesh could behave inside of Unreal. Now, if you're going to be decimating, this is the exact one that we have with UVs and everything. If what you're going to be decimating, you need to make sure that here on Decimation Master, you use this keep UVs. And ideally, I would recommend freezing the borders as well. If you do this, we can decimate this like a 20% should be more than enough. So let's do a very quick pre-process right here for this mesh. And we're going to be exporting this into Unreal as well so that we can compare it to, it's going to be pretty much the same. I just wanted to show you what you could do if you did not want to optimize and have every single polygon that you had in ZBrush inside of Unreal. So while that thing is decimating, we are here inside of Unreal and our werewolf Nanite is ready. Now, of course, this is very little, and this is because we did not properly scale the element. But you can see this is 3 million polygons or however many polygons we have, and it's going to be ready to be textured very, very easily. So let's just position this right there against the wall. This could be statues, it could be like anything you want. And I'm actually going to show you right here. I'm just going to start duplicating this a couple of times. And for every head that we have right here, it's 3 more millions, or actually 6 more millions that we have here inside of our engine. And if I hit play, our character is going to be able to play this. And as you can see, I don't have any sort of lag or anything because Nanite is just that amazing. It is going to be heavy on the disk, right? So if you ship this game, there has to be a place where this asset is being saved. And that's why this is going to be very, very heavy. You can see that estimated total compressed size is going to be 64 megabytes. But after uncompressing, you might get some very big files. Now, one thing that we definitely need to do here is change this material. So I'm just going to rename this M Werewolf. And very, very important thing, anytime you're using an occlusion roughness metallic map, you need to remove the sRGB option. Otherwise, the colors of the metal, ambient occlusion, and roughness are not going to be the same as you had in Substance, and the object is going to look a little bit different. Now, it's just a matter of connecting this very, very simply. This one goes to normal map, this one goes to base color, the red one goes to ambient occlusion, the green one goes to roughness, and the blue one goes to metallic. We save this real quick. This applies it to any instance of our object that's in the game. And as you can see, our character is ready. Look at those beautiful faces. And again, all of this, you're seeing every single point. Let me see if I can get the camera as close as possible there to the snout of the wolf. You're seeing every single point in real time, which is just amazing. Now, let's very quickly go back to ZBrush. This is the decimated one. I'm just going to go C plugin and decimate current at 20%. It's going to read the thing. As you can see, it's 645,000 points, which is roughly 20% of the total amount. And we're going to go, of course, to FBX export import. Let's export this right here. Let's call this Nanite opt. This is the optimized version. It should save it a lot faster because it's a lot less data. It's 20% of the data pretty much. It should weight a lot less. Yes, you're gonna have more triangulation, so there might be certain details that are not gonna be as tight as what we have right here. But again, one of the great things about this element right here, camera is really intense. I'm gonna show you once we bring the other one. There's a little thing that we can do to make this a little bit bigger because right now it's gonna be pretty much impossible to zoom in there. But we can go here and you can see again that we're seeing all the Nanite things. Now, if you've never heard of Nanite and you've been watching this video for 22 minutes and you're like, I still don't understand what we're doing. Nanite is this sort of real-time decimation thing that we have here inside of Unreal. So if I go here to Nanite visualization and I turn the overview, you're going to see all of these things right here. So these triangles right here, these are the actual triangles that the computer is rendering right now. These are the clusters of those triangles, the instances, the primitives, all of the information that it is doing. But as I go out here, you can see that the amount of triangles is reduced because they are occupying less amount of space on screen. So it's kind of like an on-screen decimation. The farther away you are, you're going to be getting a sort of lower poly version of the object again in real time. And the closer you get to the object, the more polys you're going to be seeing on that particular element because again, it's the live update. You can see here on the clusters how the clusters are updating as we move the camera around. See how as we move this closer, these clusters are a lot smaller, but these clusters over there are really, really, really big. Of course, there are ways to optimize this if you're having any issues, but again, as you can see, we're not really experiencing anything right here. The file has been exported. Let's very quickly go here and import it so we can see the difference. Let's import here. We're going to import the Nanite opt. As you can see, for the past one, it took like, I don't know, like 3 minutes or something to load here into Unreal. This one, as you can see, it's just 5 seconds or something. Here on the import uniform scale, I'm going to change this to 20, and I'm just going to hit import. That way, when we import the mesh, it's going to be 20 times bigger, which is going to be roughly the same size of what we have right here, because this is 32. That's something that you can do if you already know the scale of your object. It's probably going to be coming with a different material, but that's fine. You can see now, since we decimated the mesh and it's a little bit more optimized, it's taking way less time, and we're going to be able to use this here inside of Unreal very quickly. So just wait a little bit, and there we go. That's fine. It has a couple of zero edges. There we go. So on this one, the only thing that we need to do is just replace the material with the old material, and you can see that all of the textures are working perfectly fine for our element. And if we drag this optimized mesh, it's going to be slightly smaller. But if we bring it into the scene, make this super big. And this is what they used for the demo that they did when they showed Unreal Engine last year, for like the statues. So look at this beautiful thing. So this is the kind of stuff that we could find in a game, and it just looks amazing. And what took us? It took us, what, like 25 minutes to get to this result? So there you go, my friends. You have no excuse to be an amazing artist. If you want to learn all of these things and support the channel, the best way to do it, of course, is with our premium courses. But you can also join the Discord, like, share, subscribe, and just help spread the word of what we're teaching right here. And yeah, hopefully all of this information is helpful to you. If it is, please let me know in the comments. I love to hear back from you, my friends. And don't forget, this is part of Sculptober Day number 2. The topic or the prompt is werewolf, and you're welcome to submit your stuff in our Discord to be part of an amazing community. Thank you very much, my friends. I'll see you back on the next one. Bye-bye.